Hello and a warm welcome to the Selindor Turf Club for barrier trials this Tuesday the 14th of October, with no racing taking place at the club this weekend, but we do have these 6 trials taking place here, 3 on track 2 over 1,000 metres, and trials 4 through to 6 will be on the sand track over 1,000 metres as well. Runners and riders for the first trial up on the screen, starting off with a new runner by Done Deal, and Benny Woodworth will take the ride, so we do have a change there. Next runner is Fire, HS Gill, Correct Points, M. Etdiar, Bankers Strong, G. Fahan, Glorious Alliance, Andre De Silva, so De Silva now picks up the ride for Glorious Alliance. Again, there are some changes coming through which have not made their way up to the commentary box. Atlanta Legend, TMR, Bankers Pretty will be ridden by Arn Newtman. And it looks like Super Baby has also joined this trial now. And Super Baby will be ridden by Atmazani. And Awesome Storm will be ridden by Jay Ikram. So those are the runners and riders for trial 1. And quite a big field to open up proceedings, and they should be making their way down onto track shortly. And the carded time for trial 1 is 9:10. Runners moving into line for the first trial. First one to move in is an unnamed runner by Dundeel, Benny Woodworth. The second runner has moved into line as well, which was Bankers Strong. Now for the turn of Glorious Alliance, who will now be ridden by Andre de Silva. So we have a field of 9 runners for the first trial. A couple of changes as Atlanta Legend is about to step forward. And we have the first 4 runners into line, still waiting on Super Baby, as well as Bankers Pretty Fire, Awesome Storm, as well as Correct Points. As Bankers Pretty and Nutman about to move in. Awesome Storm, the next one. And Glorious Alliance just playing up in the starting stalls. Seems to have settled now, as we have 3 runners left to load. Still waiting on Fire, as well as Super Baby, as Fire moves in. Last 2 to load, Super Baby and Correct Point, and then we'll be set for a start. Super Baby moves in, but Correct Point just a little bit fractious moving up. Is now shied away at the first attempt, and they'll try and load him in the second time, and it is successful. 9 runners, first trial of the morning. We are just about set and ready. Flags up. Gates are open, and they're sent on the way in the first trial, and Super Baby has stood in the stalls, has refused to gallop, and is at the back end of the field and still in the starting stalls. As the runners now settle fully into stride down the back straight, one of the quickest to respond, Bankers Strong along the inside, is the unnamed runner by Dundeel, and Benny Woodworth in the saddle. Glorious Alliance is that one's outside. And just had to check for a run, the unnamed runner, being passed up now by Awesome Storm. That's been tracked by Bankers Pretty, and behind those Atlanta Legend. 5 lengths further back in the field to Correct Point and Fire. And of course, Super Baby refused to gallop, is down at the stalls as they're homeward bound. 400 metres left to travel. Up in front, Bankers Strong, the leader from Awesome Storm, the outside. 2 lengths back and running to Glorious Alliance, then comes towards the outside of runners. Bankers Pretty, who seems to start to lengthen his stride and work into the trial quite smartly. Battle on the inside is the unnamed runners. They're into the final 100 metres now, and Bankers Pretty's picked them up one by one into the closing stages. And it really starts to extend going away in the closing stages. Wins by about 2 lengths, followed by maybe Battle on the inside. Bankers Strong just ahead of Awesome Storm. Then further back in the field, you had Glorious Alliance just ahead of Atlanta Legend. The unnamed runner was next best, followed by Fire. And then came Correct Point, and Super Baby, who refused to gallop, is still down at the stalls. So it will be Bankers Pretty under R. Nickman for the Johnny Lim stable. That wins by just about 2 lengths in the closing stages. Really extended his stride and won rather comfortably in the end. Followed by Bankers Strong, who was back in second, just ahead of Awesome Storm in third. Then came Glorious Alliance back in fourth. Followed by the unnamed runner by Dundeel, who was back in fifth. Then came Atlanta Legend. Followed by Fire. And that will leave Correct Point, if I'm not mistaken, followed by Super Baby, who of course refused to gallop. So just to run down the numbers once again, the winner, Bankers Pretty, followed by Bankers Strong. In third place was Awesome Storm. Fourth place, Glorious Alliance, just ahead of the unnamed runner, ridden by Benny Woodworth. Then came Atlanta Legend back in sixth, followed by Fire in seventh. Correct Point was in eighth, and Super Baby did not finish and is still down at the starting stalls. Up next is Trial 2. Runners and riders will be on screen shortly. Once again, over 1,000 meters on track 2. And initially, a field of 8 runners. As we saw in the first trial, that can change very quickly. So the runners and riders on screen now for Trial 2. With a few changes. Wind of Dubai will be ridden by S. John. Limitless Stouts, Andre de Silva. Joyful Stars, S. Behouden. Chiango, S. Uzair. Pacific Bow Bay, Geraldine Xiao. Major Blaze, Benny Woodworth. Bankers 2-6, G. Fahan. Bankers Beautiful will now be ridden by R. Nukman. And Super Baby will be ridden by Akmazani. So the change there, that's Super Baby, who refused to gallop in the first trial, will now join Trial 2 to make it a field of 9 runners. They'll be making their way down to the start and will probably commence in about 6 or 7 minutes' time. Runners moving into line for the second trial. Wind of Dubai, the first one. Beholden just sitting in the stalls waiting for Joyful Stars to join the line. Meanwhile, Limitless Start has moved in. And just a reminder, Super Baby, who did not jump in the first trial, has now joined the runners for trial 2 for a second attempt. As Joyful Stars is giving quite a bit of issues downstairs. Again, Beholden waiting inside the starting stalls. Joyful Stars seems like he wants no business being there at this stage. They're going to try again with him. This time round, moves in. So a field of 9 runners for the second trial as Chiango is about to step forward. Next slow, Pacific Bow Bay. And we're left with 4 more runners, including Bankers Beautiful, Bankers 2-6, Super Baby, as well as Mega Blaze to complete the field. Currently working on Mega Blaze. Now straightened up. And Mega Blaze moves into line. Bankers 2-6. Steps forward. And we're left with 2 more runners, Bankers Beautiful, as well as Super Baby to complete the field. Bankers Beautiful moves in, Super Baby, who's going around in trial 2 here. Meanwhile, Bankers 2-6 getting really fractious in the stalls. And is now right up against the back of the starting stalls. And is really uncomfortable in there. As they still work on Super Baby, who has the blindfold on. Rest of the field settle now. Super Baby moves in. Flags up, sets and ready. Gates are open and away and trialing. Super Baby for the second trial in a row has now stood in the stalls and refused to jump. All the while, towards the outside, Mega Blaze responded quickly with Limitless Stout. Those two lead the field in the early stages, being followed by Wind of Dubai. Joyful Stars, the outside, being passed up now by Bankers 2-6, then 2 lengths back and running to Bankers Beautiful, racing up on the outside of Chiango, and detached in the early stages is Pacific Bow Bay. And unfortunately, Super Baby once again did not jump with the field and is still down at the starting stalls as they're homeward bound. About 450 meters left to travel now, and line of 4 up in front. Limitless Stout racing alongside towards the outside of runners Mega Blaze, as well as Bankers 2-6, who moves in with Bankers Beautiful. A length in behind those is Joyful Stars racing with Chiango, and the last 2 are outpaced as they're into the final 200 meters now towards the outside. Bankers Beautiful quickens up smartly once again here, and Bankers Beautiful shoots clear, goes about 3 lengths to the good. The rest of the field are out the pack chasing, but chasing shadows as Bankers Beautiful impresses in trial 2, followed in behind that by Bankers 2-6, Chiango, Pacific Bow Bay. Then came further back from the field Mega Blaze, just ahead of Limitless Stout. Then came Joyful Stars, Wind of Dubai, and Super Baby once again has stood in the stalls and has refused to gallop. So it's the Bankers stable in trial 1 with Bankers Pretty and Bankers Beautiful in trial 2. Quickens up rather easily here, and Bankers Beautiful has certainly caught the eye in this trial. Wins by about 4 lengths in the closing stages under Newton for the Johnny Lim stable. Second place went the way of Bankers 2-6. Then came Giandro, followed by Pacific Bow Bay, who made up some ground, turned into the straight. Nero last and first, will finish up in fourth. Then came Mega Blaze, followed by Limitless Stout, followed by Joyful Stars. Wind of Dubai and Super Baby did not finish and is down at the stalls, and I think he'll be making his way back to the saddling enclosure. So just to repeat the numbers, the winner Bankers Beautiful, second place Bankers 2-6, in third was Chiandro, fourth place Pacific Bow Bay, fifth place Mega Blaze, in sixth was Limitless Stout, seventh was Joyful Stars, in eighth was Wind of Dubai, and Super Baby did not finish. Up next, Trial 3, the last of our trials on Track 2, before we head across to the sand track for Trials 4, 5 and 6. Runners and riders for Trial 3, starting off with Artemis, who will be ridden by Jay Ikram. Grand Duchess, Andre de Silva. Bankers 36, G for Han. Pacific Bao Bao, S Bahowden. And Mr. Hooper, S, or now will be HS Gill. So HS Gill picks up the ride now aboard Mr. Hooper. Emperor Ridge has also been scratched from this trial. So Super Smart Boss now enters this trial. And not too sure who's riding Super Smart Boss, so we'll wait for confirmation with regards to that. So one or two changes once again, and the runners will be going down to the start shortly. Runners moving into line for the third trial. Field of 6 runners. Take note, Benny Woodworth rides Super Smart Boss, who is now in this trial. And also HS Gill is aboard Mr. Hooper. First 2 runners are moved in, Artemis and Grand Duchess. Field of 6 runners. As Bankers 36 is going to be the next one to move in. We've had the Bankers stable win trials 1 and 2. We're looking to make it 3 trials in a row here. And the final 3 to load will be Pacific Bow Bow, Mr. Hooper, and Super Smart Boss. And Pacific Bow Bow. It's putting on a rodeo show at this stage with Beholden in the saddle. Now settles. Moves a little bit closer to the stalls. And unfortunately, Grand Duchess started playing up and just spooked Pacific Bow Bow slightly. He tries again this time round. He's 3/4 of the way in. And is now moved in. So we just have 2 runners remaining. Super Smart Boss and Mr. Hooper. Super Smart Boss moves up. Mr. Hooper the last one. Mr. Hooper joins the line. 6 runners, 1,000 meters, set and ready. Final trial on track 2. Before we head across to the sand track, handler moves away, gates are back and away and trialing. Grand Duchess dwelt when the starter said go, lost about 2 lengths. Towards the inside of runners, Bankers 36 broke out well. Pacific Bow Bow shows pace towards the outside, and Artemis holds his spots. Racing on the inside and only a length and a half off the leader at this stage. 3 lengths further back to Super Smart Boss up on the outside of Mr. Hooper. And Grand Duchess, after that slow start, hasn't recovered and is racing 6 lengths off the leaders as they make their way past the 600 meter mark. And up in front now, Bankers 36, the narrow leader from Artemis. Super Smart Boss working overtime on the outside to get a little bit closer. In behind those is Pacific Bow Bow, being followed further back by Mr. Hooper. And last of all is Grand Duchess, but is starting to improve as they're into the final 300 meters. Hard up on the outside is Super Smart Boss. Grand Duchess works her way into the trial now down the center. Down on the inside is Artemis. Then further back in the field to Bankers 36 as they're into the closing stages. And Grand Duchess has picked up the lead from Super Smart Boss. But Grand Duchess from last to first in a matter of strides will win by about 2.5 lengths. Second place, Super Smart Boss. Just in behind that, Artemis just ahead of Pacific Bow Bow on the outside. Then came Bankers 36 and Mr. Hooper was last across the line. So Grand Duchess from the Siva stable, Andre da Silva in the saddle, was slow away out the stalls, but turning towards the top of the straight, slowly but surely starting to improve, and then picked up the lead into the final 100 meters and will win easing up at the line. Wins by probably 3 lengths with the run down to the line from Super Smart Boss back into second. Third place will go towards the inside, Artemis ahead of Pacific Bow Bow. Then came Bankers 36, followed by Mr. Hooper, who was last of all. So Grand Duchess, the winner from Super Smart Boss. Third place, Artemis. And fourth was Pacific Bow Bow. Fifth was Bankers 36, and Mr. Hooper was last of all. That completes trial 3 and completes our trials on track 2. The remaining trials will be contested on the sand track all over 1,000 meters. And the runners and riders for trial 4 will be up on screen shortly. runners and riders for trial 4. And we've had a new runner enter into the trial. Looks like Pacific Rainbow will be taking part. And Pacific Rainbow will be ridden by Benny Woodworth. Next runner will be Good Star and Al-Shafiq. Bid Union will be ridden by Akmazani. So another jockey change there. As Bid Union will be ridden by Akmazani. Energy Baby, Joe Kamarudin, and Pacific Vampire will be ridden by Geraldine Xiao. So it looks like Elite Boy won't be in this trial and has been replaced by Pacific Rainbow with Benny Woodworth. Runners moving into line for the fourth trial of the morning. Field of 5 runners. And Take No Pacific Rainbow has joined this trial with Benny Woodworth and has replaced Elite Boy as Energy Baby is about to move in. Pacific Vampire, the next one. Two runners remaining, Pacific Rainbow and Good Star will complete the field. Good Star moves in. 5 runners, sets and ready, 1,000 meters on the sand track. Gates are open, away and trialing towards the inside. Good Star didn't get the best of breaks and he's at the tail end of the field early on, but only a length and a half covered the field at the early stages. Towards the inside, Bid Union responded well, but there goes Pacific Vampire as expected. Now picks up the lead and shoots clear. Goes about 3 lengths ahead of the rest of the field down the back straight. Bid Union's dropped back into second from Good Star. The outside is Pacific Rainbow in fourth. Energy Baby, the grey, outpaced and is racing about 10 lengths off the lead at this stage. The Pacific Vampire's in a trial of his own at this stage, turning for home with 600 meters left to travel. Shoots 8 lengths clear of Bid Union. Battle on the inside is Good Star. Then came Pacific Rainbow. Energy Baby is last of all as they're into the final 300 meters. Pacific Vampire, a comfortable leader, probably by about a dozen lengths at this stage. Pacific Vampire into the final 200 meters. The rest of the field slowly but surely starting to cut back the deficit, but they are well back, and Pacific Vampire has run them ragged here and will win by a margin of probably over 10 lengths in the closing stages. Good Star, Bid Union, the battle for second and third. They only hit the line now, maybe the inside. Good Star just ahead of Bid Union. Then came Energy Baby, and Pacific Rainbow was last across the line. So there's pretty much 2 trials in this 4th trial for the morning. Pacific Vampire with the blinkers on today. Jolyn Xiao for the Jason On stable. Kick clear down the bat straight, and there was certainly no looking back. And wins by a margin that I wouldn't be surprised is 10 lengths or more. And wins rather comfortably at the end. The cameraman struggling to keep up with both of them. With Pacific Vampire the comfortable winner by must be 10 lengths as we roll on the replay, and we'll see second and third between Good Star and Bid Union. It was heads up, heads down, and on that it will go towards the inside. Good Star just ahead of Bid Union, and further back in the field Energy Baby, and last across the line was Pacific Rainbow. And I wouldn't be surprised if 20 lengths covered the field as Pacific Vampire wins trial 4 from Good Star, Bid Union, Energy Baby in fourth, and Pacific Rainbow was last across the line. Up next is trial 5, the penultimate of the trials for the morning, and runners and riders will be up on screen shortly. Runners and riders for trial 5, a field of 5. Volcanic will be ridden by H.S. Gill. Air Mobility, Andre De Silva. Seawater, R. Shafiq. War Star, Jolyn Xiao, and Pacific MV will be ridden by Benny Woodworth. So there are no changes to this trial, and they'll be making their way down to the starts in about 5 minutes time. And this is the penultimate of our barrier trials for the morning. Runners moving into line for the 5th trial of the morning. This is our penultimate barrier trial. And Volcanic, the first one in. Air Mobility is next. Air Mobility steps forward. 3 runners remaining. Sea Water, Warstar, and Pacific MV, who are the remaining runners. Sea Water moves in. Pacific MV. Warstar, the last one. Warstar moves up and in. 5 runners, 1,000 meters. Flags up, sets and ready. And away and trialing towards the inside. Volcanic stumbled out the starting stalls. Gill did quite well to stay on there. And as a result, Volcanic is at the back end of the field early on. Up in front, Air Mobility as well as Pacific MV battled it out for the early lead. 3 lanes back to Sea Water. Then came Warstar, who's one from last, and Volcanic, after stumbling down at the start, is last of all, and about 8 lanes cover the field as they're into the turn. 750 meters left to travel now. Air Mobility up in front by 2.5 lanes. Racing away in second is Pacific MV, then further back to Sea Water, being passed up now by Warstar, and Volcanic might be pulled up at the back end of the trials, about 20 lengths off the leaders as they're into the final 300 meters now. Air Mobility in front, still by about 1.5 lengths, but Pacific MV has him in his sights and is starting to work into the trial quite well with Warstar. He's even deeper out on the track, but as Pacific MV has picked it up into the final 100 meters. Battle on the inside, Air Mobility, deepest out is Warstar. It's Pacific MV still in front, looking to hold it on with the run down to the line. Will get there, wins by 3/4 of a length to Air Mobility. Deep front was Warstar back in third. Then further back in the field we had Sea Water, and last across the line was Volcanic. So Pacific MV, Benny Woodworth for the David Cox stable, the grey, will win the 5th trial for the morning. Wins by just about 3/4 of a length or even half a length as they hit the line. Second place, Air Mobility, who tried to rally back, battle on the inside. Warstar was in third, only a length covering the first 3 horses. Then it was a break of about 3 lengths in running to Sea Water, who was back in fourth, and Volcanic, who didn't get the best of breaks early on, is at the back end of the field and is a distant last. So Pacific MV the winner, Air Mobility in second, Warstar in third, Sea Water in fourth, Volcanic last of all in 5th. Up next is the 6th and final trial for the morning, and it should commence in approximately 10 minutes time. Runners and riders for the 6th and final trial, and we only have a field of 5 runners. Hullets will be ridden by J. Daniel. Al Chabastro, Al Nickman. Sabar Win will now be ridden by Benny Woodworth instead of Troy C, so the jockey changed there. Comeback will be ridden by Andre De Silva, and King G will be ridden by A. Nazir. Those are the 5 runners for Trial 6, and they'll be making their way down to the start shortly. runners moving into line for the 6th and final trial this morning. As Hullets was the first one, Alchabastro moves in. 3 runners remaining. Sabar Win, Comeback, and King G. And then we will be set for a start. Sabar Win moves in. King G steps forward. Come back, the last one. Come back. Moves in. 5 runners, 6th and final trial, set and ready. Gates are open and away and trialing. From the 1,000 metre mark, King G a little bit slow into stride, and Alchabastro goes back early on. Hullets, on the other hand, broke out quickest of all, showing pace towards the outside as Sabar Win and pushing forward, Come Back. Make it a line of 3 down the bat straight, length and a half back to King G's, racing on their heels in 4th. Then a further breakaway of 6 lengths to Alchabastro, who's detached in these early stages and is about 10 lengths off the leaders as they make the way past the 700 metre mark. And up in front, a narrow leader, Sabar Win, just by about a nose along the inside, Hullet. Then King G continues to improve hard up along the inside, and he's going to pick up the lead as they approach the top of the straight. So King G, the new leader from Hullet. Deeper out is Sabar Win. Then came Come Back and outpaced as Alchabastro, the Greys, at the tail end of the field, and is 10 lengths off the leaders as they're into the final 200 metres now. King G has picked up the lead. He's gone 2 lengths clear of Hullet, who's out the pat chasing Sabar Win deeper out on the track, and looks like that will be the first 3 across the line as King G will win by about 4 lengths to Hullet in second, then 2 lengths back to Sabar Win, same margin to Come Back, and then came Alchabastro, who was last across the line. So King G, who was travelling very well on the leader's heels for the majority of the first half of the trial, the gap opened up along the inside, and he shows them a clean set of heels to win by about 5 or 6 lengths from Hullet, who was back in second. 3rd place was Sabar Win. Then came Come Back, and Alchabastro was detached from the field for the majority of the trial and was well back in that 5th position. So King G, the winner of the final trial from Hullet. 3rd place, Sabar Win. In 4th was Come Back, and Alchabastro was last of all. Thank you very much for joining us. That completes our trials for Tuesday the 14th of October. Just a reminder, no racing this weekend at Sellandor, although racing takes place at the Parrot Turf Club on Sunday, and then we'll return back to racing here next weekend. Until then, farewell, and we'll see you for the Barrier Trials next week, Tuesday, on the 21st of October.